Up next on Way of the Renaissance Man, the importance of wanting to help people and how to turn ideas into successful companies with one of the nation's most successful marketers, authors, and all-around Renaissance men.
Welcome to the Way of the Renaissance Man podcast. This is a show about ideas, personal empowerment, and celebrating the rational life. Our goal is to help each other discover the tools needed to better focus our minds, integrate our thoughts with actions, and live the lives we really want. I'm your host, Jim Woods.
When you meet one of the nation's leading entrepreneurs in the cannabis jungles of Colombia, you know the conversation is going to be interesting. That's where Jim met today's guest, Craig Huey. Founder and president of Creative Direct Marketing Group, Craig is recognized as one of the world's leading experts in marketing and advertising, and he's helped turn countless small companies into multi-million-dollar corporations using his expertise in direct response marketing, targeting strategy, and accountable advertising. In this episode, you'll learn why both Craig and Jim think the key to being successful is to know your productive purpose in life and to figure out how to implement your vision for helping others. You'll also find out why capitalism is such a conducive economic and political system for those who seek a mutual exchange of values. Plus, find out about Craig's latest book, which is a thoughtful critique of the current deep state environment in Washington, D.C., and why this environment is so toxic to freedom. And now, here's Jim's conversation with the eminently intelligent and entertaining Craig Huey.
So I met this man in the fields, in the cannabis fields of Colombia, right? So, and that was our first meeting. But he's not like some kind of crazy drug runner or anything like that. He's actually one of the most successful entrepreneurs around. He's a friend of my friend, Dr. Mark Skousen. You guys have worked together for a while.
Since Mark started.
Yes, exactly. Craig Huey, welcome to the Way of the Renaissance Man.
Jim, it's great to be here.
Yes.
Thank you.
So, we were talking a little bit before the podcast, and we're talking about who's my audience. My audience is the type of audience that wants to kind of extract the best thing, the best like tools out of everybody they can. I said, well, I got to have him on. Yeah. I got to have you on because you have like many decades of helping people make, be successful, and you have you're a Renaissance man. You have businesses, you have a beautiful family, you've got all these kind of you write books, you do talks on these things. We're here at Freedom Fest 2019. I saw you doing a talk on medical devices, things like that. I mean, this is the only guy I know that has a more diverse interest than I do. Right. So, welcome to the show, and so tell everyone about tell what's the essence of Craig Huey.
Well, you talk about how do you have a success? How do you get ahead? How do you achieve this Renaissance man? And I don't know if I can personally say that I fit into that category, but I started from nothing.
I'll say it.
Okay, I started from nothing, and I didn't have anything, but there were a few qualities that I had that helped me be successful. One is I had the philosophy of wanting to help people, wanting to be able to not just look at my interests, but look at the other interests. Also, I like to read, and I was just reading everything I could about things that were important to me, important to others. And I think a successful quality is that ability to really absorb information. And I took that and a few other skills and learned the trade of marketing and advertising, and learned the trade of copywriting, and learn how to be able to sell products and services. And I help turn ideas into successful companies. I've been able to create multimillionaires, many multimillionaires, by being able to do marketing. And from that, I've become a multimillionaire. But I've been able to do so because applying these two concepts of constantly wanting to stay one step ahead.
Right.
That's key to success.
Well, that's what I found with your company, because my newsletter publishers,
right.
And our
right.
mutual clients,
yeah.
We work together on certain
yeah.
things, and I found that your company is always on the cutting edge of the
right.
social media stuff. You're always
right.
and on the direct mail,
right.
the email, things like
right.
that. I mean, I always get your update from
yes.
you, and I always read it because it's always
right.
something that I don't know.
Yeah.
I learn something
yeah.
from your updates. It's
yeah.
not like it's the
yeah.
kind of thing where it's like, okay, I think I know something about this industry, but I really
right.
don't.
Right.
But you do.
I do.
How do you keep up with everything? It's such a fast-paced thing.
You know what? It's reading. It's being able to read and see what others are doing and what's successful and what's the newest breakthrough. And I do that in politics and economics. I do that in marketing and advertising, which is my career. And so I have Direct Marketing Update, which covers
it's a great
marketing,
great
and that's
thing.
what you're talking about.
Exactly.
I also have a political newsletter, because I study
great.
that, and it deals with economics and politics. I have a newsletter for evangelical Christians that's on politics, and I put these together as a discipline for myself. So I'm always one step ahead, and I'm helping people stay one step ahead, and that's my research, and it keeps me one step ahead.
Yeah. Well, you mentioned two primary components that
right.
I find that I've been talking about.
Right.
I didn't even know you were going to say this. Okay?
Right.
But there was two primary components that you said. First of all, you want to have a purpose.
Yes.
And your purpose was helping others
yes.
become successful.
Right.
And a man without a purpose is not a real man.
Yeah.
You need a purpose, and
yes.
you need a purpose other than just I want to get rich.
Yeah.
That's not a purpose.
No.
That's a byproduct
no.
of your purpose.
No.
Yeah. And so you have to have some kind of productive purpose in
right.
life. Number one thing.
Right.
Then you have to have the intellectual curiosity
yes.
to make yourself into the kind of person that can help other
That's
people.
right.
Before you can help anybody else, you have
yes.
to be able to love what you do.
That's right.
And you do that. When I see your face, when I see you talking
yeah.
about what you like,
right.
it's like the walking example of that kind of thing. And that's the kind of thing I want
yeah.
to instill into people, because without that, you're always going to be a somewhat kind of
yeah.
incomplete person.
Let me give you an example. So I have this passion to be able to help people be successful by giving them an advertising or marketing campaign that makes them successful. I get so much thrill out of seeing success. There was a man who called me. He's been a client for over 25 years. And he's a chiropractor. And he said, I want to talk to people who are chiropractors about what I'm learning about alternative health and nutrition.
Right.
I said, you know what? What you need to do is communicate your message to seniors who need to know about this information for their health. He goes, well, I never thought about that. And he goes, what do I do? And I put together this marketing campaign, and he invested everything he had. He was living in this little guest house up in Carmel, California. And he hardly had any money, but he put it in and took a chance. He took a risk. And the marketing campaign worked. And what happened, he grew into the largest alternative health newsletter in America, in the world. And in selling nutritional supplements to that database of subscribers, he has a $24 million mail order operation. Nice. And so he not only took that little guest house, he eventually bought the main house. Then he tore down the main house, yeah. built a mansion, bought the property next door, and overlooks the Carmel coast. Now he has another house right on the coast so he can surf down in Baja, Mexico.
Wow.
And he had nothing. He started with nothing, but he had this vision of what can I do to be able to help these people.
He wanted to help
these people.
See, and that's the thing. Like, I mean, it doesn't matter what how you want to help people.
Right.
It matters that you want to help the world become better.
Right.
And by helping others. That's
Right.
That's what you do. You don't help the world by like helping the rocks.
No.
Okay, you help the world by helping people.
Yes.
And guess what? When you help that guy,
Right.
you of course got rewarded from
Yes.
it. But not just financially, psychically as well.
Totally.
And so did he. And I'm pretty sure that he's probably returning the favor to others at this point.
I believe he is.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's the kind of thing that I love. I love stories like that. I'm glad you told me that because, that's the kind of thing that I try to do with my newsletters.
Right.
People come up to me and say, hey, I'm up 40, 50% this year.
Yeah.
I can't believe
So
it.
awesome.
Yeah, it's such a gratifying feeling, but the flip side, if somebody's like loses money in a position, I kind of like want to, I almost feel like I want to give it back to them.
Because there's not always success.
Exactly.
And you feel bad. But, with your investment information, people are learning about the economy, they're learning about human nature, they're learning about life and how to invest. They're learning a lot of stuff. You're giving so much value.
Thank you.
And that's what this whole capitalist system is about. Give value,
yes,
and you're going to be rewarded.
Exactly.
And so it's not a matter of taking, it's a matter of reaching out. And that's where wealth is created. See, too many times people have a socialist mentality that there's only this certain pie of money and wealth,
fixed income,
and who's going to get the
zero
most of it?
sum game.
And how do I get mine at the expense of others? It's not capitalism. Capitalism is that pie keeps expanding and growing as people come up with new products and services and ideas and ways to help people, and people get rewarded for that.
Exactly. I mean, the interesting thing is, before America, you didn't have the concept of making money.
Right.
You just had a concept, the king has all the wealth.
Yeah.
Or the feudal lords have all the wealth.
That's right.
Or the state has all the wealth, locked up and all the power and wealth. But in this country, we made money. We made wealth.
Yeah.
We created something beautiful. Yeah. And unfortunately, there are those that think that needs to come under assault, and a lot of them are running for president.
Yeah, they are. They are.
So, and a lot of them are in what we kind of not jokingly call the deep state, but they actually do call the deep state.
Yeah.
And now, tell me about that, because you wrote a book about the deep state.
So I've had to deal with my clients dealing with government, and I've dealt with government myself. And I've had terrible experience with governments. Any of your, look at anybody who's watching this, they also have been at the DMV and had to wait on those lines. If you try to do something to their house, you got some bureaucrats in the city that are preventing it, slowing it down, causing costs. The federal government's worse. 1.8 million people, unaccountable, many power hungry, and today many trying to do ideological change from their bureaucracy position. That's the deep state. The bureaucracy always wants to protect itself, to grow itself, and to be invisible, non-accountable.
Right.
Under President Obama, an additional element was added. He put in people who were ideologically aligned with wanting to transform our society into a socialist society. And those people are still involved in the government, leaking things, trying to sabotage different types of policies, trying to slow down policies. And so it's been a nightmare to try to see change. And so as I watched this, I just said, we need to have a book explaining how this is happening, how there's 8,000 people in what's called Obama's army that's at the very top levels of government that sabotage and abuse their power like you can't believe. So I document this, and I talk about other things too. Right. I talk about, for example, I'll give my own example.
Right.
So as a business owner, and I'm starting off, I'm barely able to make it, but I'm getting ahead, and I have the auditor coming in maybe 5 or 6 years in a row, waiting to see if I'm doing everything right with sales tax. Now, the bureaucratic mentality is they want to look good to the bureaucrats at the main office. And so this one guy goes, "Oh, you did your invoice wrong." So when I do marketing, I have copy and I have art.
Right.
And I had always put the copy and art on one invoice. And all I had to do is pay 10% of a total bill for art, which they call tangible property. And he goes, "You're in violation. And we're going to go back 3 years and you're going to owe us over $500,000. Well, I put it into appeal and eventually got up to $1 million. And in the appeal, I kept losing. I'm saying, "Listen, I've always done this, and they've always said I'm okay. We don't care." I said, "Well, listen, it's not that I'm cheating. You know, I'll be glad for in the future to break it into 2 invoices."
Yeah.
And they said, "Doesn't matter."
I'm pretty sure the law was ambiguous on that. The rule was like,
you could do
so they
it
could
any
they
way,
could rule
any
whatever however way they wanted.
Exactly right, Jim. And then finally, I get to the top person. And I say, "You know, this could put me out of business. I can't afford this. I can't go back to these people and get sales tax." The bureaucratic mindset is perfectly stated. And he said, "Mr. Huey, if you can't afford to pay your taxes, you don't deserve to be in business." And that was it.
Yeah.
And
Did you pay?
I had to pay.
Yeah.
And you know, it set me back for years.
Right.
But bureaucracies, they are insensitive, they're power hungry, and they just want to continue to grow. And so I wrote a book to expose it, to explain it, to be able to give solutions for it. And I put in that book things people won't hear anywhere else. So I'm on national TV quite a bit talking about these different issues.
Yeah, I've seen you on Fox and different TV.
Right.
Now tell me the title of the book so if my listeners want to check it out,
Yes.
tell me how they can check it out.
Okay, so it's called The Deep State, 15 Surprising Dangers You Should Know. The Deep State, 15 Surprising Dangers You Should Know. And they can get it on Amazon, they can get a Kindle, or they can go to deepstate.com. I'm sorry, deepstatebook.com.
Deepstatebook.com.
Deepstatebook.com. And they'll get a discount.
And of course, it's Huey is the last name.
That's correct.
That's right. Okay. Now, a couple final things.
Yes.
Okay. So, I mentioned earlier in the segment at the beginning that I met you in the fields of Colombia.
Right.
Okay. So, just so people know, you and I went down there to look at a really extraordinary operation, a company
Yes.
called Farmaciello.
That's correct.
They have their main grow and plantation facility in near Medellin, Colombia.
Yes.
And it was a really beautiful trip. I know you
Right.
put this trip together.
Yes.
And I was fortunate enough to be asked to go.
Right.
And first of all, I want to thank you publicly for that. Because it was a beautiful time.
Yeah.
Met a lot of great people.
Yeah.
But I learned a lot about the cannabis and
Right.
CBD industry.
Yes.
I did
Yes.
know something about it before, but I had never been
Right.
firsthand, like with
Right.
the kind of experience that
Yeah.
you helped me have.
Yeah.
And since then, I've bought and sold different. Cannabis stocks,
Right.
and my subscribers have done really well with it.
Absolutely.
So, and that whole industry is up and down, and and now they need to start making some profits.
Yes.
I mean, the gravy train on it
Right.
is over at this
Right.
point.
Right.
In terms of the early money.
Yes.
But there's a lot of money to be made in there,
Yes.
and I look forward to checking out more companies. I know you got some stuff in the works. So just so my audience knows, I'll be like reporting back some
There's
some good
amazing
stuff,
companies out there. Most people think of cannabis and they think of recreational use of cannabis.
Yeah, that's not what it's about.
But
Yeah.
the medical cannabis, the breakthroughs in the medical area
Yes.
are immense. They're huge, and they're
Yes.
going to drive demand. And then the CBD oil. The CBD oil and these different types of things, they work so well for so many people. You don't get high, nothing like that.
Yeah, there's no psychogenic effects at all.
It's a therapy.
Yes.
And what's amazing about this particular company is that it's got the favor of the Colombia government,
Yes.
because Congressman Dana Rohrabacher, who recently was lost the race,
Right.
he was down there because he wanted to check this out. And what Congressman Rohrabacher liked about it was that the communist guerrillas who were growing cocaine and terrible stuff, doing terrible stuff, and endangering the democracy in Colombia, that these companies growing the cannabis are providing an alternative. And it's destroyed the communist guerrillas down there.
Right.
And he loved the fact that this is like a substitute to give stability and to stop something that is as bad as cocaine.
Yeah, for them it was like a freedom cash crop.
Yeah.
You know, and the country was a mess before.
Yeah.
Now it's not. Now it's a beautiful country.
Amazing.
You know, when I first told people that I was going to go to Colombia, they were like, "Oh, there's a lot of narco-terrorism there." I said, you've been watching Netflix too much, you know, because there's not that anymore there. You know,
it's really amazing.
So it was a great experience. So thank you for that experience, and thank you for being on my show.
Absolutely.
And anytime you want to come back, please do.
Great, Jim. Thank you.
Thank you, Craig.
Right.
All right.